Previously, the bloody fight between Jisuk and Wooin continued, but before a winner was decided, In-hyuk and Seonga decided to stop the fight, as they could get seriously injured if they continued it. Both of them were admitted to the same room alongside Jiwoo and ended up fighting over a game of cards. Later on, In-hyuk and Seonga took all the boys to Jiwoo's home since he was missing his cats, and the boys decided to have a sleepover at his place. They left early in the morning, and Jiwoo finally resumed his daily activities of being a cat freak. They encountered some vicious dogs on their way, but they were just there to admire Daddy Caden's greatness. Meeting with Delane, Seongha tells him how Wooin gave Jisuk a run for his money. Delane can't believe that Wooin didn't stop even after Seongha told him to, and acted recklessly when he was under the union's investigation. To top it all off, he even fought and kept causing trouble with Jisuk in the hospital room he was being kept in. Wooin might have been a good obedient boy in front of Delane, but the Wooin Seongha saw was rebellious and an absolute cat freak. However, instead of feeling angry about that, Delane just bursts into laughter, and Seongha tells him to advise him that if he continues acting like this, it will make things complicated. Surprisingly, Delane doesn't want to, as he thinks that acting rashly is part of the teenage charm, and Seongha is just getting worked up over something trivial. Knowing his student, Delane knows that Wooin wouldn't have gone to such lengths to fight Jisuk without a reason. He then tells Seongha to stop wasting his time, as he could be happily enjoying a single-player intercourse session, and asks him to bring him the tools he requested. He reminds Seongha that he doesn't care if the work gets delayed, as the union's in a rush, and not him. When Seongha goes away, he smirks while imagining the gentle little Wooin being rebellious. Let me tell you guys, this is sign number 4 of how to spot a pedo. The following morning, Wooin dresses up for school while Jiwoo is filling the cat's food bowl. Caden asks why he is going to school, so Jiwoo tells him that he has already missed too many days and feels fine enough to go to school. As they are talking, the gray cat wakes him, and when Caden gives him a bombastic side eye, he starts sweating and acts like he never woke up in the first place. However, Jiwoo knows the cat is just acting, and tells Caden that the cat seems to do this a lot when they are around. When Jiwoo heads out, the gray cat stretches when suddenly he realizes that Caden is still keeping a watch on him and starts snoring loudly like my dad. He doesn't snore anymore. I mean, he used to snore. Weird way of saying that he left to buy milk and never came back. Caden then decides to start working on restoring his powers in peace now, as he couldn't do it before because of the others. However, his power restoration gets disturbed when the cats start to get all clingy with him. Only these kinds of disturbances can fix me now. We all know that Caden is something of a tsundere himself, so he just yeets the cats away. Reaching his class, Jiwoo is surprised to see Wooin already sitting there and sits beside him. The two have a little conversation with each other, and Jiwoo wonders if Jisuk came to school as well. He decides to go check it out himself, and lost in thoughts, Wooin remembers Seongha asking him if he is interested in joining the union, and saying that his treatment would change if he were to join the union, and this way he could also stay with Delane. He gives him time to think about the offer, and Wooin wonders what would be the right thing to do. Going to Jisuk's class, Jiwoo asks a random nerd if Jisuk is absent, but the nerd gets scared just by hearing his name and runs inside the classroom. Meanwhile, Jisuk's friends are pissed as they can't get in touch with him. They wonder if Jisuk is ignoring them on purpose, and remember that he has been ignoring them since they asked him to beat up the kids from the other school. They start to blame Jisuk for the beating Wooin gave them and think that they were the ones who took in a loner like Jisuk, but it has made him cocky now. The reason they got close to Jisuk was because he's a great fighter and has a lot of money. Jisuk is revealed to be secretly hearing their conversation, and his snake friends talk about how they started to treat him like a leader, and Jisuk's cash started flowing freely like water. They don't even care about how a teenager like Jisuk is so filthy rich, as they are getting what they wanted, and even mentioning Jisuk's name makes the kids of other schools bow down to them. Using his name, the boys made a lot of money, but since Jisuk is laying low, they can't bully those kids for their money. Hearing that they were using his name to collect money from other school kids surprised Jisuk. But before he can do anything, the pioneer of justice comes, and with a look of shock on his face, he asks the boys if they really meant what they said and if Jisuk knows about this. They tell Jiwoo that it's none of his business, but the fact that they call Jisuk his friend only to use him for their advantage pisses Jiwoo off. One of the boys mentions that Jisuk never thought of them as friends either, but Jiwoo thinks that they are just lying to themselves to bring meaning to the wrong they are doing. Meanwhile, wondering why Jiwoo has to meddle in other people's business, Jisuk goes away. Because he cares for you, bud, one could say he loves you. At school, the school staff was surprised to see Jiwoo since he had been absent for several days without any notice, and it made Jiwoo think that they might have suspended him. However, his teacher cares about him more than his non-existent dad ever did. That's because the Manhwa Association covered up for him by saying that Jiwoo was in a car accident. They didn't really put much thought into the excuse, as they made the exact same excuse for Wooin and Jisuk, and the teacher is such a dumbass that he actually believes it. In-hyuk probably went like, "Mr. Teacher, it's car accident season." After school, Jiwoo invites Wooin to his home and tells him that the gray cat finally woke up today. On their way, they run into Jisuk, who is waiting for Jiwoo to come since he knows that he might be the true friend he lacks in his life. But we all know that he's a tsundere, and tells Jiwoo that In-hyuk told him that he would pick him up from his house, since they have a follow-up at the hospital today. All those little cuties immediately rush to Jiwoo, while Kaden walks like a Victoria's Secret model. Tapping him on the shoulder, he tells Jiwoo that Jisuk has been waiting for an hour. Getting inside the house, Jisuk gives Jiwoo a good old kick in the butt because he is blocking his way, and the gray cat gets aggressive seeing Wooin. Jisuk asks what's wrong with the cat, and Jiwoo tells him that the cat is just going through mood swings. The cat keeps on hissing and acting aggressively, so putting his cute little paw on his head, Kaden tells the cat to calm down, and the cat does a complete 180 personality switch. Maybe the cat has bipolar disorder. Jisuk mockingly asks Wooin what he did to make the cat so mad. He thinks that Wooin is scared of the cat and tries to act macho by trying to pat the cat, but he just bites his hand, and Jisuk goes on a cursing fiesta. Among all this, Wooin feels happy that the gray cat is at least doing better than before. Being the child that he is, Jisuk wants to teach the cat a lesson and brings out cat treats that he only offers to the other cats. However, the gray cat completely ignores him, and Jisuk feels more hurt than the time his crush rejected him. Calling Kaden a fatty, Jisuk tells him to act cute if he wants a snack. Kaden just wants to kill him at this point, and Jisuk is sweating like crazy thinking that it might just happen. At Manhwa headquarters, In-hyuk tells Ji-young that the Klein brothers have been spotted in their country, but they don't know the reason for their arrival, so he and the union are looking into the reason. Suddenly, Jisuk comes barging into the room and asks In-hyuk why he didn't pick him up, saying that he had to take those two annoying bastards to the hospital himself. In-hyuk and Ji-young have a serious look on their face, so he stops acting like a spoiled brat for once, and In-hyuk tells him about the Klein brothers. They are on a wanted list of awakened ones and would do anything if the price is right. Since they are powerful, it is difficult to catch them, so In-hyuk wants to put the brothers on priority, as it is unlikely they will come to Ji-young's territory, but he thinks that it is better to be safe than sorry. That night, some Union agents are attacked and killed by the Klein brothers, and when Seong-ha learns about this, he decides to personally track them now. Meanwhile, the Klein brothers arrive at the scene where Delane was last seen at and plan to finish their job as soon as possible. I wonder who will win, the Creep brothers or the buff guy with a fancy turtleneck. Getting inside Delane's hideout, the brothers are shocked to see that the place is completely empty. They received information a month ago that Delane was here. They wonder what they will say to the clients now, as they got paid more to catch Delane as soon as possible. They decide to look around. thinking that some traces of him might still be left behind, and plan to tell their contact to send the correct information about Delane's whereabouts if they want to live. The following morning in the classroom, Jisuk is still pissed at the gray cat for ignoring him and licking his feet all day long with his ass facing him. In truth, he is even more pissed by Caden, as he considers him the cockiest cat in all of existence, and even the way he sits annoys Jisuk. In an attempt to make the cats bow down to him, he starts looking up cat treats online, trying to become some type of cat overlord. He even goes as far as to pay extra for the cat treats to get faster shipping. Suddenly, his friends come over and try to act like they care about him by mentioning the car accident he was in. They tell Jisuk that they were shocked and worried because of him and ask why he wasn't answering their calls, but Jisuk just ignores them and says that his reflexes are a bit slow from the car accident. He tells them that his phone broke so he couldn't answer them and is using his sister's phone for now. He then goes away, and once he is outside, Jiwoo and Wooin come up to him. Jiwoo asks the two of them if they have something planned, and when they say no, Jiwoo asks them to come feed stray cats with him. The two end up going with him, and together, all of them feed the cats around the whole neighborhood. Jiwoo is really happy to see Jisuk developing affection for cats as well. At Shinhwa headquarters, In-hyuk informs Ji-young about the union agents who were tailing the Klein brothers and got killed. He also tells her that the incident happened 2 hours away from the headquarters, and now Seong-ha is after them himself. Since the location of the incident wasn't far away from their location, Ji-young thinks that they need to prepare themselves. A man then comes barging in with a package for Ji-young, and she gets surprised as she didn't order anything. Asking Ji-young what she was trying to get in such a hurry, In-hyuk looks at the box and realizes that the box came from the highest-rated site for buying cat stuff. In-hyuk gets all happy thinking that Ji-young has become a cat freak just like him. After feeding the stray cats, Wooin makes his way back home while thinking about the good time he had with his friends. Just as he is about to go inside, he sees that the door is open and wonders if someone has broken in. The Klein brothers recognize that he is Delane's student and ask him about the professor's whereabouts. Since they came without telling the professor, Wooin thinks that it must be bad news and tries to run. But his way is blocked by one of the Klein brothers, Duran, who praises Wooin for his quick reflexes, as he expected him to be caught off guard by the situation. He then tells him to not run away again before they are done talking, and uses fire powers to hurt Wooin's shoulder, and warns him to do as they say and not try anything funny. I'm personally ready to throw hands with these guys. They ask him again about Delane's whereabouts, but Wooin attacks them and tries to make a run for it, but the Klein brothers stop him yet again. Wooin is shocked that his attack didn't hurt him one bit, and Duran agrees that he is pretty good for his age. But they baited him to attack them to confirm if he is really Delane's student, since they have the same powers. The fact that they know about his and Delane's abilities worries Wooin, and he thinks that he can't let them catch him no matter what. He attacks both of them simultaneously, but his attack does nothing just like before. Since they are taking too much time, the Klein brothers decide to finish up fast, and Duran summons fireballs at his hand. He shoots the fireballs towards Wooin, but Wooin is able to dodge the attack, so he keeps on shooting more fireballs at him. Wooin barely holds on for now, and the handsome brother tells his brother Duran to stop playing around. Out of nowhere, Duran explodes his power around Wooin, and since Wooin isn't able to see the attack coming, he gets severely injured and starts bleeding. The brothers decide to capture him for now, as he will be in high demand for being so strong at such a young age. Meanwhile, Seong-ha is driving around and gets a call from an agent who tells him that they can't get in contact with Wooin. Wooin doesn't normally answer his calls, but this is the first time that he hasn't texted back for 2 hours. The agent even contacted Shinhwa and learned that Wooin wasn't there as well. At the same time, Jisuk is at Jiwoo's house watching something on his phone. He gets a call from In-hyuk, and when he answers the call, In-hyuk asks where he is and if Wooin is with him. He tells In-hyuk that he is at Ji-woo's house with the cats, and Wooin has already left. When In-hyuk asks him when Wooin left, he answers that he left about 3 hours ago. This means that Jisuk has been at Ji-woo's house for 3 hours trying to convince those cats he's their god. The union informed In-hyuk that Wooin wasn't answering his phone, so In-hyuk called him because of that, but Jisuk gets angry and tells In-hyuk to not call him again for something like this. Ji-woo asks Jisuk if Wooin isn't picking up his phone, so Jisuk tells him that the union called In-hyuk asking about Wooin, and he then called him. He thinks that Wooin isn't a little kid, so everyone shouldn't make a fuss about him not answering his phone, but Ji-woo decides to go check up on Wooin, as he is worried about him. Even though he thinks that there is no way Wooin has a girlfriend, he still tells Jisuk that he must be with his girlfriend, so Ji-woo tells him that he wants to see that for himself to put his heart at ease. Obviously, Jisuk can't let Ji-woo go alone, but he wants to keep his stone-hearted persona as well. So he tells Ji-woo that he can't be with that scary fat cat, so he would rather go with him. But to his surprise, Ji-woo intends to take the fat cat with him, saying that he might be able to find Wooin by his scent, and Kaden gets pissed and wonders if Ji-woo is mistaking him for a dog. This is where the video ends. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.